Welcome to the Michigan Football Report. This is our Michigan football grades against Iowa. 10-3, just frustrating game for the Wolverines. They got to win against a top 15 team, but went the last 50-plus minutes without scoring any points. Nice game from the defense, but I am in a rental car outside of Michigan Stadium shortly after the game. You're going to watch this on Sunday morning. We're filming this Saturday, but we put our instant analysis and our takeaways out and highlights right after the game. So you got this Sunday morning. I'm going to go through all of the Michigan football coaches, main coaching coordinator, head coach, and then position by position, giving you grades from the game against Iowa. Let's start with Jim Harbaugh. As I take a sip of water, let me give Jim Harbaugh a C+. I argued with my dad after the game, you want to give Harbaugh a B+ or something like that, but you can't only score 10 points. You can't go 50-plus minutes of not scoring on offense and get anything better than C+. And that is being generous because of what the defense did to Nate Stanley and the Iowa Hawkeyes and holding them to 1 yard rushing. You know, really like 60 yards rushing, but, 1 yard because of the 60-plus yards of sacks that they got against Nate Stanley and the Iowa Hawkeyes. But C+ for Jim Harbaugh. It was ugly on offense, but it was better on defense, and Michigan's defense came up late. But Josh Gattis and this offense are terrible. 10 points. 3 for Iowa was good for Don Brown. 267 yards of offense for Michigan. Kept the turnovers down, which is great. That's all good. Michigan 4 penalties for 35 yards. Iowa, a laughable amount of penalties, especially in the fourth quarter. Time of possession for the Wolverines, 26 minutes to Iowa's almost 34 minutes. But C+ grade for Jim Harbaugh. Much better on defense. Offense, we're going to get crushed by Ohio State. We really are if this offense continues to perform like they do. Last year, no offensive coordinator. Much better offense than Josh Gattis' offense. But let's take it to Josh Gattis. Josh Gattis, fifth game as Michigan's offensive coordinator. And I'm just going to say they stink. Josh Gattis gets an F. This offense is terrible. There's no running game. There's no speed and space. There were almost no catches today where anyone had anywhere to run when you caught a ball. You get into the red zone, you don't target Nico Collins, you don't target Donovan Peoples-Jones, you don't throw the ball to Tariq Black, you're throwing to Mike Sainristil, you're throwing to Ronnie Bell. 10 points, 267 yards of offense, and 50-plus scoreless minutes against Iowa after an okay start to start the game. You can't get a first down when the game is in the line multiple times to put it away at the end of the game. So Josh Gattis, from me to you, 3 of 13, I think the number was, on third downs for Michigan after an awful performance against Iowa. Anyone with a pulse, they've got you covered. Josh Gattis, you stink. I love Michigan football. I don't love what I see on the offense. You get an F, sir. And I would start I would spruce up that resume because this is the worst offense we've seen since 2008 when Rich Rodriguez was in his first year as offensive Michigan football head coach. And he had Nick Sheridan and Stephen Threet. Love you, boy, my boy Threet, but you weren't a match for Rich Rod's offense. That team went 3-9. But Michigan's offense, they stunk in the first half, 101 yards. They stunk in the second half, 166 yards. And even when they had things going in the fourth quarter, you got down to the inside of the 20. Still, you have these awful play calls. Still, when you've got to put the game away, you've got awful play calls there. This is the most maddening offense I've seen in my life from a Michigan football team. And I've seen them all, folks. Josh Gattis, F for you. Fewest points in a conference win since 1995 for the Wolverines. But it's Gattis in the hot seat, folks. Is Josh Gattis on the hot seat? You can give your grade below. I'm not sure which one. Producer Dylan back in the studio. Whichever one you decide to throw up on the screen as I'm doing this, type Y for yes, type N for no. Is he on the hot seat? Or you can grade him. Whatever Dylan does here, A, B, C, D, or F. I've given him an F. I'm saying yes, Josh Gattis, you are on the hot seat. But one person who's not in the hot seat, at least right now, until Ohio State game at least, Don Brown. I'm giving Don Brown an A. I would have given an A+, except for the crossing routes that kept burning Michigan especially like a 3rd and 22 to give up almost 40 yards or whatever it was in that one play. That was just embarrassing. 260 yards for Nate Stanley passing, only 1 rushing yard for the Iowa football team. Really like 65, 70 yards rushing, but sacks take off the rushing total in college football, so they only get 1 yard, 4 takeaways for the Michigan defense, 3 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery early on. And right out here, folks, you saw it when we filmed the show. The no turnover chain was in the building. Abloff's army were everywhere trying to keep me out, trying to call this thing contraband. They stopped me. They threatened to put me in handcuffs for bringing it in. I said, okay, I'm going to go take it back to the car. That's fine. That's fine. No. Stuffed it in my coat, put a beard and mustache on, and made it into the stadium. So no turnover chain, 4-1 advantage for the Wolverines, and that is because of this bad boy, the 250. I brought the replica today. This isn't the real thing. The replica, the real one, diamond and platinum encrusted, A4 Dime Brown. Guys, Michigan won. Whew. I'm wiping the sweat off my head, okay? I really am wiping the sweat off my head because I thought, just like the Army game, the last home game I was at 3-4 weeks ago, that they were going to lose this one. I just thought the entire game, okay, this is just letting them hang around too long. Michigan dominated this game for a lot of ways, but they won, so comment Go Blue. I just had to give a big smack of the hand and a Go Blue when they pulled this game off, when that last play, which honestly, when they completed the pass with the left-handed throw, I'm like, does Michigan even see that this guy has the ball? And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's just going to run into the end zone, isn't he? But luckily the Michigan players are paying attention, and that's because of Don Brown getting that A. Guys, Michigan was a 4-point favorite. They won by 7. I won money through BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Go Blue, 120% deposit bonus with BetDSI. The #1 sportsbook on the internet. It's the only place I use to place my bets, and I get them to hook you up. 120% deposit bonus. You put in 100, you get an extra 120 in free bonus cash to bet on college football, NFL, NBA season coming up. Michigan's covered the spread twice in a row after 6 games of not covering the spread, going back to Indiana game of last year. So you can win some money with BetDSI. Make sure you double your money and more. 120%. Promo code Go Blue. Chat Sports, BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Shea Patterson, D+ for Shea Patterson. She's my guy. I love him. I love the Patterson family. They're all great people, but this is a bad performance by Shea. Whether it's the offense, whether it's the routes, the offensive line I thought played okay, but you see his stats here for Shea Patterson. You see the difference in the first half and the second half. Didn't really have it going either half, but I'm giving Shea Patterson a D+. I give him a D+. Yeah, D+ for Shea Patterson. And there were a lot of calls in the stands for Joe Milton. Certainly a lot of people saying, can't wait till McCaffrey gets back. He's the quarterback. I was not one of them. I thought Shea Patterson was a much better player last year. So the more he's been with Harbaugh, and certainly the more he's been with Josh Gattis, he becomes a worse and worse player. How about the running backs? The Michigan football running backs, C-. I know some of you are going to argue, C-, they played great. What are you talking about? No, they really didn't play great. Let's take a look at the stats here for the rushing leaders for the running backs. Zach Charbonnet, is he still hurt? Is he not hurt? I'm not sure, but 42 yards and touchdown. True Wilson, I actually think True Wilson's the best running back on this team. He had 28 yards rushing. Shea picked in 25. And Hassan Haskins, Christian Turner, I'm not sure what you're getting for either one of those two guys. I don't think you can rely on them to be part of this running attack going forward if you're going to be successful. But that's the grade for running back. I give the running backs a C- on the day. 120-some yards rushing for the day. But with Shea Patterson, Zach Charbonnet, nobody over 50 yards rushing. I can't give him anything more than that. Subscribe to the channel, folks, if you haven't yet. October 11th, we're going private. So October 10th is the last day you can watch this channel. If you are not subscribed, I have been told. So subscribe. You can watch these shows. We have the highlights for you right after the game. Great instant analysis right after the game as well. And then now you've got our Michigan football grades. We're filming it from the rental car on Saturday, but you are watching it Sunday, and you're doing it because you're subscribed. Hopefully, if you haven't, go ahead and click it, or go to youtube.com/Michigan TV, the Michigan Football Report YouTube channel. The wide receivers, I'm gonna start burning through these a little fast. My man Dylan back in the studio. You can keep going through these bad boys. I'm giving him a D+. Nico Collins leading the way. 3 catches, 63 yards. 21-yard catch average, but why aren't they going to him more? Like, it's tough to give the receivers a D+ when you don't know if they're not playing well or they're not getting targeted by the quarterback, or if the passing attack is not right, or if the play calling is simple. But Nico Collins, 3 catches, 63 yards. Just like, that's an okay game, but it's certainly not that good. But as a group, 3 catches for Nico Collins, 4 for DPJ, but for 26 yards. There's no speed and space. Every catch is with a guy hanging all over you or right at the sideline, so you can either get tackled or go out of bounds. No speed and space. It does not exist. Speed and space is a sham. Wide receivers need to be more involved. Tariq Black, Nick Eubanks, and then Zach Charbonnet, 2 catches for 12 yards. And like, the way they use the running backs, like throwing those swing passes on 4th, 3rd, and long, I just don't get what they're doing sometimes. So D+ from the wide receivers. But I want to know from you guys, who's Michigan's best wide receiver? Because Ronnie Bell has been leading the way the last, I think 3 to 4 games so far this year. He's been the leading receiver, but he was nowhere to be found today. Nico Collins, I think, is the best receiver. In Donovan Peoples-Jones tied for that, but like 3 and 4 catches, guys, that's weak. That is not what Oklahoma and Ohio State and Alabama's receivers do. Alabama's 4th best receiver had 260 yards receiving last week in the 3rd quarter. So we can't get a guy 75 yards. And I was talking about this with my dad last night. Jim Harbaugh's quarterback recruits, career high with a quarterback recruit Jim Harbaugh brought in 157 yards passing, and 0 receivers that Jim Harbaugh brought in have hit the 100-yard mark. Something is wrong and dirty about this passing attack, and I don't like it. So who's Michigan's best receiver? Want to know from you guys. Let's take it to the offensive line. I'm gonna give the offensive line a B for the day. All right, a B for the offensive line. If the running tackle would have been better, if they would have broke off some long runs, I would have maybe given them a little bit better of a grade. But I thought watching that offensive line from the Army game in person to Middle Tennessee State to Rutgers and Wisconsin games on TV, they held blocks longer. Shea Patterson had a lot of time to throw, and I didn't see Shea take the hits like he has taken in other games. So I gave the offensive line a B for the day. How about tight ends? I almost gave like an NA or a TV determined. Like, there's no way to give a grade for the tight ends, so I just gave him a C, like just average. I'm not really sure what to say on the tight ends. Nick Eubanks did a couple catches, but no Sean McKeon again. Not really any other people involved in the offense for the tight end, so I'm giving them a C. Subscribe, guys. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, as I just said a few moments ago. Chat Sports or YouTube.com/Michigan TV. The #1 channel. Thanks to you guys. So thanks a lot. The Yoder team came out big and strong at the Michigan Stadium, calling out. I got about 20 people go, "Turnover chain," as I was just walking through the crowd. So big time. Thank you for all the support. So keep supporting us if you like the show. YouTube.com/Michigan TV. Go ahead and subscribe today. Special teams, C-. Peoples-Jones had 1 nice return, and the kickoff returns, whatever, but gosh, you missed those 2 field goals that could have put the game away. Jake Moody misses 1, and people were just about the stadium was about to just erupt if Quinn Nordine hit that 57, 58 yard at the end of the first half. We're just, by the way, awful play calling, awful clock mismanagement again by Jim Harbaugh to even need to kick it that far. But 2 missed field goals. When it's a 7-point game, that could be the difference in the game. And I just thought Iowa's punt and kickoffs, they always just seem to have like a little too much room. Michigan's punting was nice today, 46-yard plus average, so good stuff there. But C- for the special teams. Let's go to the defense. Power with the defense. Not a ton needs to be said. Defensive line. The Michigan defensive line, I liked what I saw today. Kwity Paye is the man. A+, 1 rushing yard versus Iowa. Let's take a look at these Iowa stat leaders on the rushing side. So 1 rushing yard, it might be a little bit of a skewed stat. I don't really know why college football does it like this, but quarterback sacks count as negative rushing yards. So Nate Stanley, 8 carries, basically 8 sacks that Michigan got him for negative 65 yards. So Torrin Young, 40 yards. Goodson 15 yards, Mekhi Sargent with 7 carries, so 12 yards. So not a ton going on, much like Michigan, didn't really get anybody going, nobody over 50 yards. And because of those quarterback sacks from that defensive line, you got 1 yard rushing. So A+ for the defensive line. The man of the day, you can see him on screen, Kwity Paye. 4 tackles, 2.5 sacks, QB hurries, tackles for losses. He was a force. He was a noticeable force out there today. I'll say this. I was a little disappointed. It didn't seem like Aiden Hutchinson had that great of a game, even though the defensive line gets an A+. But we saw Michael Dana in there quite a bit. Michael Dwumfor being back is such a huge boost for this team. A+ for the defensive line, led today by Kwity Paye. 2 sacks in the first half versus Iowa. Let's take a look at the guys who got the sacks for Wolverines defense today. Kwity Paye, 2.5. Jordan Glasgow with 2 sacks. Cam McGrone with 1.5 sack. And Michael Dana and Aiden Hutchinson with 1 each. 8 total sacks for Michigan against Iowa, the Iowa Hawkeyes today. Let's take it over to the linebackers. Give the linebackers an A. I thought they played a good game. I thought Glasgow played good, Kalik played good, Cam McGrone played good, and other than a few plays where maybe like they got caught, in pass coverage, other than that, the linebackers played good today. Give them an A because of these players are leading tacklers for the day. Many of them are linebackers, at least 3 of the 5. Kalik Hudson 11 tackles, Jordan Glasgow 9, Josh Metellus 6, Daxton Hill 6, and Cam McGrone with 6. Jordan Glasgow, the folks sitting next to me at the game, they didn't like Glasgow. I thought after last week that maybe he had been figured out, but 9 tackles, 2 sacks for Jordan Glasgow today. Quite a game for him, and he was in there on the most important plays of the day for the Michigan Wolverines defense. So big time game for Jordan Glasgow. And guys, if you want to be big time betting on sports, do it BetDSI, where we put our bets. Also, get the Action Network so you have all the info, all the insight, all the analysis, and you know where the public bettors and the pro bettors are placing their bets. I put money on Michigan today. You saw I tweeted out about an hour before the game. I had 5 bets today. I'm already 3-0. I might be going 5-0 after going 4-1 last week. That's pretty good. I do it because of the Action Network. I don't really I'm not a future teller. I find out where the great trends are going. I identify 10 games, and then from those 10, where the pro bettors putting their money, and I just try and match up with them. So I pick 10 of my own based on trends, and I see which games the pro bettors are betting of those 10. So you do it with the Action Network, chatsports.com/deal. That's where I get my insight and analysis. You use that URL, and you can get 40% off their $10 subscription per month, down to $5.99. Take a look at the secondary. Give them a B. Nate Stanley, Iowa's quarterback, threw for 260 yards, 3 interceptions. So I was struggling here in the secondary a little bit because Stanley, came into this game with I think one interception, no interception in the year, and Michigan picked him off 3 times. I was wanting to give the defense an A, but 260 yards and so many 3rd down conversions, especially early on, that the secondary I thought got caught off guard and was not prepared for. So I can only give them a B on this one. Dax Hill, though, played a great game. 6 tackles, tackle for loss, a pass breakup for the super freshman for the Wolverines. I was really excited to see Dax Hill out there for more playing time, which I don't expect to go down from here on out. If he's not a starter, he's just as good as a starter at this point because that's how much he's playing for the Wolverines. But the leaders from the secondary against Iowa, Josh Metellus 6 tackles, Dax Hill 6 tackles, Lavert Hill 4 tackles, and Vincent Gray 3 tackles, Ambry Thomas 2 tackles, an interception for Metellus, an interception for Lavert Hill, and an interception for Ambry Thomas. Guys, 10-3 Michigan wins. 1-word reaction. What was your 1-word reaction the second the game ended? I think I said something when we did the instant reaction, but I guess I'm just gonna do this one. It's not like a yeah, we're excited. It's like a my brain is hurting me, but I want to know your 1-word reaction. Michigan beats Iowa 10-3. Those were our Michigan football grades and my 1-word reaction, which was, whew, man, they got that one.
Hey there, Michigan football fans. Thanks so much for watching the Michigan Football Report. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got Michigan football news, rumors, recruiting information, and inside access to the Michigan football program. You ready for another Michigan football video? I got you hooked up right here. Go Blue.